Amy begins to realize her powers. Winston dupes Dr. Pet. And Fanning and Lear, the feud continues. Hey, come on back. We got some stuff to talk about.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Okay, so we had our little AfterBuzz music today.
No more you lie.
You know, no lying this week. Sorry, guys, but it's all good. It's all good. So this week it's just Jackie and I. If you just didn't notice, Shauna's down tonight with a little, some kind of little
it's
bug.
It's not viral though.
Right. Fanning did not get to her. She's not out permanently. So
technically, it is a virus.
Virus,
but it's not
from
not
a viral. No blood spattering, any of that kind of stuff. So we're gonna hold it down tonight.
Yes.
Still phenomenal episode. We're gonna have a special segment. We're gonna have our good bite, bad bite still. But before we get into that, let me introduce my lovely co-host for the night.
Oh, I'm lovely this week.
Lovely.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. Good to be here again.
Always.
I'm so excited. Every week, I'm more and more excited.
For sure. And I'm your host, Tanir Williams. So let's kind of get into this episode.
Yes.
I mean, man, come on. Can the writers just stop with the drama? I mean... What in the heezy? Like, just all kind of stuff going on. Let me get your overall thoughts.
I mean, I loved it again, as usual. I think we all, because we talked about this in the chat a couple weeks ago, that we finally saw from Dr. Sykes that motherly instinct kick in. I'm calling it black girl magic.
Right.
I was super excited. So overall, again, we've yet to have a bad episode. It's crazy.
It just keeps building on each episode. And I knew it last week. Did I not call it? If you guys go back and watch last week's episode, I said, next week, Amy's going to express some powers. Yep. I went back. I had to look it up myself because I was like, I knew it. I know you guys saw it tonight. It was on. And in fact, let's start off with that.
Yes.
In terms of Amy kind of coming into realizing her powers. Her and Brad, kind of starts off with the little bit of mind reading, because I had even noticed in the beginning when she started, I forgot what she said, but she said something about like, oh, you need to stop with all the...
Yeah, you've said that 100 times already. Yeah,
and I was like, is she reading his mind? And then he kind of figured it out, so I was like, oh, it's beginning.
And she's afraid of it too, because she definitely told him, she's like, I try not to, but it's like my mind, I can't control it, which has got to be scary when you're hearing like a bunch of, especially, I mean, because we all know, this is LA, we know the shade is real out here. So can you imagine just hearing that all that would suck.
Oh, I'm just glad they kept it family. Like nothing was going on with Brad, where she's like, I'm
just a child, right?
I'm only 10. I don't even know. Like, oh, sorry. Let me clean it up.
That's why I call you the agent.
Right. No, that was, like you said, I would imagine that would be tough. Like you said, especially hearing all these different thoughts, and the fact that I think kind of hit me when she was like, you're not going to leave me, are you? Like I have this freakish powers. Please don't go. And he's like,
well, that's that Babcock again, being Babcock, So now she's like, oh, when I change, you're going to leave me. And that's like their whole theme. I don't leave you. You don't leave me,
Right.
So yeah, she's terrified of that.
Yeah, no. And it's one of those things, like you said, it was, I didn't know if it was going to be the, where there was the mind reading, where when they were in the fridge, and I did notice it. I was like, man, Brad is up there shaking, and she's just like sitting there like,
Oh, and shouts out to the makeup director on this one too, because Brad's lips was kind of blue, like he was cold.
He was giving it to you, like the bottom lip shake. Like I was like, oh man, I don't know if they actually turned down the AC in there, so he was really feeling it, or he was just really acting his butt off on that one.
I got cold myself. I was like, let me zip up my jacket.
And she was like, look, what'd she say? She's like, I can read minds, I can run fast, and I can sit in the fridge with no coat on.
I know, right? That's another freak. But you know what? I will say this. As an anemic person, I would love to not be cold.
Just be able to walk in. Just
I'm
be
walking in, boom. Go home to Colorado, be like, it ain't cold out here. Y'all
right.
tripping.
Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. So she begins to realize her powers in this one, Amy. And then we have our dude, Horace Gilder show up.
First of all, Horace. You got to say it like that. Horace.
And for those of you who are fans of alliteration out there, the deputy director from the Department of Defense. That's a lot of D's right there.
He's giving us the D, y'all. Right. What just happened?
I swear it's a family show. I swear It's a family show.
Leave it to me, I swear.
This one. Oh, it's given the.
Every
Okay,
week,
you know
y'all.
what? We
Every
always
week.
take a left turn somewhere on this show, and we gotta bring it back. But yeah, so Horace shows up, acting like he runs the place. You know, coming in just with his funny. Like, I don't know if anybody else noticed in the chat. You guys can chat. Did anybody notice just the crazy look on his face? Like when he first showed up out the van and was talking to Clark, he just had like his eyes were all wild. Look, I was like,
I couldn't focus on his eyes because I was
dude.
stuck on that mustache.
Oh man, there was just something about Horace. Like he had like the weird limp, the mustache, like he was
Yes.
all messed up.
The
you know?
limp was what got me too. He's like, I'm just gonna come out as creepy as I possibly can.
I didn't know if that was for the ladies or like, what's up, lady? You know, he got the no Horace, not with the name Horace.
Horace.
Horace, horrible is what the horrible Horace. So he comes in, and we find out he's there to kind of take Amy to the next level. Like we're gonna turn her into a weapon. Kind of give me your thoughts about like when you first see Horace, he shows up on the scene, you kind of know what he's there for. Like, are you thinking like they gonna get her, or like what were kind of your thoughts on that?
You know, so everyone in the chat, first of all, shouts out to you guys in the chat. You know how much we love chatting back with you, and everyone.
Always.
You guys always just have the coolest comments. And some of them are asking like, why didn't the virals kill Amy? We'll get to that in a second. But no, I am not at all surprised that a government official wants to do some shady crap.
That's what they do.
Not even a little bit.
That's what they do.
So,
trying to make the little girl a weapon, you know? It's kind of like, and he just came in with those feelings, like you could tell, like I don't care.
The comment that he made that I was like, oh, okay, that even kind of hurt me a little bit. Like he's like, I'm here for the side effects. Because we want to weaponize that.
Right.
First of all, I get war and everything, but I don't even understand how that would work in your favor to turn your enemy into a viral. When they get stronger, they get faster, they can manipulate your mind. How is that?
And haven't they seen any movies where like those kind of things, they try to control that kind of like power or make these things, and it always gets out of hand, and then they get overthrown or, and they can't handle it. I was just laughing at the little exchange between Dr. Sykes and our boy Gilder. Like, I forgot, what did he say to her? Like, where she...
Oh, when he was like, you can go. Are you talking about that? And when they were in the room? And she was like, no, I'll stay. You can go. I'm still in charge.
Right.
Here.
I was
Yes.
like, ooh, Sykes. Like, it was coming out tonight. Like, she was ready. Oh, I was ready for it to go down. Because you could tell it was just bubbling over. Like, I'm tired. First of all, Dr. Pet, he done stepped out of line. Like, I'm trying to tell my story, and he's like, no, we could do it. We could, and she's looking like, this Negro
I'm so glad
here.
that we
like,
know his name, because we've been calling him
Right.
Dr. No Good this whole time. Dr. No Good's name is really Dr. Pet. So yeah, but he took me, because everyone in this episode, and I know, Shauna, I know you're in the chat, so make sure you say something, because I know this one's for you for sure. Because I have been saying since day one that Clark is going to go. He's somehow going to make his way over to... You shaking your head at me right now like, no, it is not going to happen. Stop lying. That's not what it is.
You already know.
but I same thing with Dr. No Good. I thought this was going to be his moment to be like, man, I was with you until you said weaponize a child. But he was like,
Right.
I could probably do that.
Right. He saw the little opportunity door, like, let me kick this open real quick. Sykes, excuse me. Yeah, we could do, and I already knew, like, right when that happened, I was like, this dude, he's getting too big for his britches right here. He was just talking, acting all cocky. We could do this and this. And, dude's like, show me. And I was like, that's it for Pet. I don't know how,
Dr.
but.
Pet about to be Pet Cemetery
Man,
up in this piece.
Right. Winston came in and was like, I'll show you what's up, mister.
Yes.
So we start to actually see through Amy's powers, we see a relationship between kind of Sykes, and maybe not a relationship, but you just definitely see her really soften towards Amy, which was, I don't know, I really enjoyed that. And we see that in Amy's face, a couple when she goes and gives her the hug and was like, hey, when she decides, hey, I'm going to break you and Brad out. Amy's like, what? We got to know. And they have that nice little exchange like, hey, truth be told, I don't like that guy. And, Amy's like, truth be told, we trying to break out of here too,
Right.
And she's like, I'm going to help you, And I was just like, oh, that was that moment where you were like, man, let's do this. So that was a really nice moment to, to check out and kind of take in. So
The chat had a good point that Dr. Pet, he's so shady, he tried to take credit for Amy. Look at you.
That's why this dude. That's why I was
Forgot
like,
about that. See, that's why we love the
that
the
is
fifth
why we like
panelist. That's why we love
exactly.
y'all.
You guys pick it up, and it's kind of one of those things like you see it when you're watching it. But I appreciate you guys bringing that up because there was a couple times in tonight's episode where you were just like I said that looks Dr. Sykes gave Dr. Pett when she was trying to lay out her case, and he said something, and it was just the.
Y'all don't even know if y'all know the whole when the whole head's like, did you just? That's when it's a problem. In the parking lot, we have a problem.
Oh my goodness, I was like, yeah, that's when I knew she was like, you know what, I can't deal with this fool anymore. I gotta go. I gotta go to Walgast and.
I can
Amy.
literally see her stepping over his body like.
Right. I'm mad we didn't get like the conversation maybe from after they left that room, like down the hallway, like if you ever again, like what are you doing, type thing. So so like I said, we see along with Amy realizing her powers. And kind of just slowly, like I said, she starts reading Brad's mind. And she says she's hearing other people. So I feel like this episode, is really just her getting in tune with like, whoa, what's going on? What's happening to me? I'm kind of stepping into my own. And then we see, obviously, towards the end when we just have a culmination again of her, I think, really still just realizing her power and how maybe it's attached to her emotions or whatever, because. We see when she screams real loud, knocks
And long.
Winston off, and then she just like collapses. So it's like it not only she has his power, but obviously it takes a toll on her, physically or emotionally, like everything, when she does that. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops along. I know maybe people who read the book already, they're like, we
some
know.
people.
See?
For those of you who are leaving these wonderful comments about, well, in the book, I'm not reading it because I don't want to give spoilers yet. You know what I mean?
I figured.
And I try to look away because you're spoiling it for me too. But
I know our co-host. I knew immediately when I was talking about it, well, like this is what
in the book.
On page 115 it says. No.
I did want to give Dr. Pett one piece of credit though, because the way that Amy is dealing with her newfound power versus everyone else, it kind of freaks everyone else out. Now, granted, Amy kind of knew, they at least gave her a little bit of insight, as to what was going on. But I kind of think it speaks to a child, their ability to learn. They always tell you if you're going to learn a language, it's better to learn it as a kid because your mind just versus us trying to learn a language right now, it's super hard.
Right.
So she, even though she's processing every new thing that she's learning, like this is just another weird thing I can do now.
Right.
I couldn't do it yesterday, I can do it today, just deal with it.
Right.
So for her, it's just like, this is what it is.
Right.
But for everyone else, like when you think about Carter or Anthony, and he just had this. But when his tooth fell out, that was justifiable freak out.
Shauna, that's for you. Teeth still falling out.
But now he's comfortable with it, but he fought it tooth and nail.
Right.
Whereas Amy's just kind of like, okay, this is new.
Right. No, I liked, like you said at the end, when she was like, when Brad's like, you just did that. She's like, I just did that.
Yeah.
And then she falls out. But still, it was kind of like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's going to think like, hey, this is kind of cool stuff, or if she grows in it more and starts realizing maybe her real potential.
Yeah.
She going to be a bad somebody,
Yes.
So they
Can't wait.
Man, cannot wait. But speaking of, you talked about Dr. Pett. So what I want to do is, move into Winston and Dr. Pett.
Dr. Winston. His name isn't Dr.
Oh, did I say Dr.
No,
Winston?
I'm saying Dr.
Okay. I was about to
I've
say.
I've seen a lot of movies and there's always like Dr. Winston.
Yes. So we got this dude. We saw him last episode. We got introduced to Winston. And
He drugged the girl under the car.
yeah, and unfortunately he had
semi.
used our boy Paulson and got him laid out, shot in the head. So sorry about that, Mr. Paulson. So he's doing his thing. So we see Dr. Pett take, basically try to use Winston to show Gilder, hey, this is what I'm all about. I can control these things and all this stuff. And Winston's just setting him up, just playing him.
And first of all, you big dummy. How you not see that? We've already talked. You're the one that sits in the boardroom and say, I'm going to establish a link. So they have these telepathic abilities. You're just going to assume that you got it right on your first try.
Right.
No.
For some reason, I don't understand they seem to downplay I don't know if it's them being arrogant, like the doctors being but it's like they downplay the intelligence of the virals, and it seems like they always are getting taken advantage and be like, man, they are some smart folks, are very manipulative. I mean, between Babcock, Fanning, now Winston. So I'm like, could somebody please, maybe Lear now, maybe he's been, since he's seen how stuff is going down, maybe he'll be like, look, they are not to be played with type thing.
But Dr. Lear was the first one to recognize it when he saw Tim Fanning and Babcock sitting at some weird sort of attention during dinner time. He's like, if you're not eating, you're talking. So he's the first one to see it. So I think he was the main one to be like, I don't know, I think they talking. Everybody was like, are they though?
Yeah. Well, Pat had it coming. Like I said, I knew this, but he was just getting too big headed, for everybody. So I was like, I don't know how, but like you said, Winston preyed upon that, and man, that was.
Well, the chat said for a second, I thought he really was being controlled, but when he revealed he was faking it, he kind of knew. I wasn't sure because when I knew that he was faking it is when he did the wave, because he said, raise your left hand, and he raised it, but then he waved too, like hint, hint, winky, winky.
Right.
I'm just faking.
Right.
But he didn't pick up on that.
No, he did not. And we see
he picked up on that bite though.
I mean, when they go in, they go in. It'd be like the bloody squirt,
Yes.
Yeah, so like I said, so Winston gets out. I thought Winston was going to go free everybody.
Free the homies?
Yeah, I thought he was like, we out, because Shauna Babcock had just been talking about, we about to get out of here. So I was like, oh, there's the link right there. He got out. I'm springing everybody, but he just went off running his own thing.
I mean,
and ran up on some Amy and got.
But we haven't seen him have a conversation with Babcock or Fanning.
No.
So he's probably like, look, I don't even know y'all like
right.
that.
I was gonna say he might be like a loose, like every man for himself, and I thought maybe, like I said, Fanning might jump in his head or be like, hey, come get us, but maybe not.
Oh, this is a good question. Did you like the vampire joke between Sykes and Lear? Where he was like, just put me down there with the vampires. We don't say vampires.
Actually, I caught on. That's a good point right there, because I did catch that, and I was like, wait a minute, I thought they weren't, and then.
Yeah,
Sykes cleaned it up,
Well, now that I think I might be a vampire, we're going to call it what it is. There's no more beating around the bush.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, what's his name? Fanning said that Lear was not infected. But I was like, I don't know. He'd be around so much blood. Like, no little drop, like, got in there. He didn't swallow nothing. Or, like, while he was yelling, like, maybe a little.
And is that Tim Fanning manipulating the situation again? Am I telling you you're not infected so you can go out willy-nilly and then maybe turn at the most inopportune time and eat your colleagues? You know what I mean? You just never know with Tim Fanning. He's so shady.
Just, man.
But I will say this, and I'm just going to we got to give credit to Tanir, our host, because episode 1, y'all, he called it. He said that Dr. Tim Fanning and Dr. Lear, that it was a girl in the mix. that there was he said it from day one.
Because I know these situations.
And I was like, nah, not between the doctors. Nah, you got that wrong, but you got it right.
Man, thank you actually for bringing that up, because can we talk about some Fanning and his game? Like before, I mean, he was no joke. Like he was just like, I'm coming with it, and Elizabeth, I don't care about your husband or nothing. I was like, wow.
I was low-key mad at her, though, when she was like, oh, because obviously they've been flirting, this whole time. And when she was like, oh, that's our subtext now it's just text.
Man.
Okay, let it be text, though.
Right.
Why you nasty?
Nasty
Just nasty.
bodies, and him and his little Steve Jobs Apple black turtleneck, coming through real suave. I was like, if he had a little gold chain on, would have been like little death row members.
Oh, no. Stop it. He's doing the most, you guys. But before we get on to our next topic, while I'm not laughing, we just want to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk, and for us to continue to grow. You know what time it is. We need your help. So if you're on YouTube right now, which a lot of you are, thank you so much for staying in the live chat. While you're there, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Tell your friends to listen to us on iTunes, and when they're there, tell them to give us 5 stars.
5 stars.
Five. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversation. And being a part of AfterBuzz TV, it definitely means absolutely so much to all of us. We truly appreciate you supporting all of us doing what we love. Don't forget to tell your friends, to tell their friends, to tell their friends. Make sure you subscribe, follow this show and all the other shows on AfterBuzz. And we love you guys so much for it. And let's get into the Dr. Dre. He thought I forgot. I ain't forget.
No, yeah, I was looking, I was like, he got him a little car, she was like talking about. And like I said, his outfit, I was just like, look at Fanning though, just putting the pressure on. Like when he was just bold, like, I'm taking your wife home. Like, oh, okay, man. I was like, man, this dude is no joke. And I thought when he was in his thoughts, I thought it was going to get real when Lear was telling him like, no, I knew about you. We made up and all this stuff. And I thought, Fanning could have come back with some stuff talking about, let me tell you. Like,
what it was, right? Dr. Lear is cool, though, because I couldn't still be your friend.
Ooh.
And I know you done.
He is ultra cool, like just laid back, like, no, I knew, though.
The chat had a good point that maybe Dr. Fanning wants more than just a wife. Like maybe it's... See, okay, that's a good point, though. If he's not infected... Obviously, he just infected the wife. That's what the syringe is, right? So is this a, hey, you're going to have to become infected if you want to, because if you're not infected, you can't have a relationship with your wife.
There's no saving her right now.
But if you're infected, then you guys are all part of this big family. Is this him trying to force Dr. Lear's hand, you think? He's so awful. That's what he's doing.
Man, that's why when he was looking, he was like, yeah, you sure that she did? I was like, man, this dude, he just seems like, man, whatever it takes, I'm going to get down. Like, I'm going to win. Because that's what, remember, Lear was like, you lost, and I could think for Fanning, it is like a big, like, I guess like a competition or whatever. And Elizabeth was the prize, but he was like, nah, I ain't going out like that. I'm going in the head. I'm going in there, get her infected, use what's our boy Gray. Went in there. Shout out to Jason Fuchs. I believe that's how I say your name. That's how I'm going to say your name. I don't know if I'm saying it because it's spelled Fuch. And like I said, we want to keep it a family show. So I'm going to say Fuchs. But today, appreciate I was promoting the show. He gave me a like on the IG. So definitely want to send a shout out to you. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully, maybe we can have you on the show as a guest.
Yes.
Hook that up. But you're
going to have to leave the syringes at home.
Right.
We don't know you like that, man.
Man. And you were slick. He was slick the way he went in there. He kind of walked out, and I think even Lear kind of looked at him at one point like, oh, okay, what's he doing? He went in there, wham.
But did you see how Dr. Lear looked at and hugged Elizabeth? There was that moment where he knew, he's like, she can remember because she's infected now. And like, let me hold on to her for as long as I can. That's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. And like you said, I feel like Fanning's just going to use that against him. So... no, but it's so funny that you mentioned just even the whole conflict going back to that, and I was just like, look at Elizabeth in here, just getting in the way. Got these two doctors going at it. I was like,
nasty.
I don't know what she had, but it must have been.
See, it's not me. It's not just me.
I'm just saying, like, man,
tater tots and ketchup. Last episode, for those of you, I did see some of you guys have just now started watching the show. So once you get to tater tots and ketchup, that joke will be funny to you.
You will know about some ketchup. Actually, you know what? Speaking of which, there was a lot of little like kind of subplots that maybe they only got like a scene or so, but still I think that were very important. One being Dr. Sykes and Clark, kind of that whole saga. Now you can chime in on the chat, but that's a real situation going on because Clark. Dr. Sykes already caught Clark in a lie. Never called never called the Defense Department or whoever he was supposed to call. Then he's coming after Amy, said he was going to do. So she's like already upset. Then he wants to, when he finds out she's hiding, helping Amy and Brad, when he comes in, like, how you going to do this? And she's like, what? Like, I was like, man, I love that little that little subplot. But I'm wondering what's going to go on with them now. Is it going to be over? Because it looks like she might be fed up with him now.
Yeah, it's definitely over. Especially there was a point where she was like, Horace.
Right.
I just hate that name so much.
Horrible
Horace. He's not a good guy. He wants to turn Amy into a weapon. And then Clark was like, well, what did you think this was? I just take orders. Like the order I took from you when you told me to go kidnap a little girl. Why are you bringing up old stuff, though?
Right. Old stuff. We gonna go there? We really gonna go there? Yeah, it was, and what else did she had another line in there. It was something, but It'll come back to me. But really, yeah, just that whole situation in terms of her, again, kind of coming into her own, Dr. Sykes, she's like, no, I'm not putting it. Because, up until now, Clark had always been like, oh, I'll tell you what I want to hear, or I'm going to be firm, and she's just like, no. Like, and when she actually said, I'm helping Brad and Amy, I was like, oh, she done jumped shit now. There's no coming back now. So,
but our fifth panelist, you guys said a couple weeks ago that you were counting on Dr. Sykes' motherly instincts to kick in, and when she grabbed her hand out of the room with Horace,
right?
And like this is gonna happen all night. You just knew. But what does this mean for her though? Because if they do, which they didn't get away yet, if they get away, I mean, technically, if like the title says, how you gonna outrun the end of the world? So if it is the end of the world, it doesn't matter what's happening to your career.
Maybe her job is not finished yet. Since they didn't get away, maybe she's still gonna be able to
have some work to
come
do.
in, and maybe she might go out with them. Be like, you know what? Like, because like you said, it's kind of like, what am I gonna do here now? They already know. I done helped you guys, so maybe I better just tag along. I don't know.
And when is Lacy getting there?
Man.
And why are they in a convent?
Right.
We just gonna gloss over that,
right? And actually, I had read in the notes. I had mentioned. I was like, look at Lacy, like kind of her little like plot line today. Like you said, going back to the convent. Did everybody see the nun's face when she came back? She was like, basically like, Lacy, we don't have no place for your nonsense coming. I'm like, what was Lacy doing in the con?
So godly. It's such a godly thing to do. Like we don't have no space for you.
Right. I was thinking, well, did she go in the army? Like, she was the nun, then went in the army? Maybe they found out, like, oh, you can't be out there killing folks.
She was. Oh, so it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right. Or was she in the army? Then she came in, and they were just like,
and then maybe brought some of her special training drama
maybe
to
she
the convent.
Maybe she.
I don't know.
Someone said, Lacy, you can't be like, don't tell me what to do.
I'm shooting around here.
Like, if you don't sit down somewhere.
Yeah, so we know she's a former nun. I just need to know at what point she was a nun. Ivan, now we're counting on you to spoil something. Just this part, though, Ivan. Just this part. Was she a nun before she went shoot 'em up, bang, bang? Or did she shoot 'em up, bang, bang, and then become a nun? Okay, so look, church first, then army.
Oh, look at it, right on it. We appreciate that, Ivan. Dang,
See
thank you so much.
you.
As we appreciate you all in the chat, just being
that's worse, though.
I know.
Because you just all holy, then killing people?
And then she was like, you know what? I'm sorry, Lord. I got to go.
But there's a lot of killing in the Bible, though. Let's not play like this.
Yeah, no, and they were doing some real like hand-to-hand combat, chopping off heads and stuff, So that was.
We're also told, and I don't think we would actually probably get this detail, but Lacy left the church because she did not believe.
Oh, so maybe that's why they were upset with her.
Like, why are you in the Lord's house?
Right.
You don't even like the Lord.
Right. You back? Like she.
Comes
that is like week. Yes, the pursed lips, just like and she had it too. That nun, whoever the head nun or whoever that lady was, they cast her right. I mean, that was probably the casting right there. They were just like, can we see her? And she was like,
but that's a leap.
Yeah.
From being married to the Lord to being married to a gun. That's a leap.
Man,
it be like that sometime though.
Hey, like you said, when you're out on the battlefield, it's like you gotta take care of stuff. Now, one other another little scene that kind of really jumped out, was the Brad Carter. When Carter got into Brad's head, they had their little exchange when he was sitting on the porch, and he was talking about, hey, I'm here for Amy, So I'm like, just that little. I think a couple episodes ago I was like, how is this relationship going to form, with Carter? And apparently he's still,
kind of good.
Yeah, he has some good.
But what is he eating these days? That's what I want to know. Is he eating people?
That's a good question.
Because if that's what he's eating,
because we didn't even see him today, And the last time we saw him, he just broke out and he's just on the run, like in the wild.
That's a good point.
Black man eating folks.
Where is he? Because we definitely did not see him get locked up.
I thought for a second when Winston was about to eat up Brad and Amy was there, I thought maybe like, oh, is he going to come out from somewhere?
Right.
And save Amy, but he didn't, So yeah, like you said, that is a good question. And maybe, I don't know, chat, if you guys know, is there something we don't know, like where he ran off to, but he just they just didn't address him for the episode. So, and he kind of left on a exciting note there. So I
the
wanted
chat
to know.
says no. Carter is not good. He wants Amy for Fanning. But what we not going to do is we not going to tarnish my image of Anthony Carter at this here juncture in this series.
Let me tell you, people, there was a time when we were watching that scene and Carter stood up, to come over to Brad. This one over here, I thought she was like, look at all of that. I was like, what is going on? And I'm trying to be serious and take notes. I'm like, what is going, and she's like over here sweating and catching feelings. I was like, oh, Mr.
We're not going to mess up Anthony Carter for me right now. Give me a couple weeks. I will join y'all in this endeavor.
He was like, I'm not here for you and I'm not here for Fran. I'm here
for Jackie. That'll work too. I'm just kidding.
See what I got to deal with? This is holy moly. So yeah, well, like I said, we had between all these other little plot lines and obviously the main stuff, like I said, it's just always a lot every episode to take in. So I enjoy it. I enjoy like the writers throwing in that stuff. So I'm excited to see where they take this.
I am too. I just, the thing about this series is because obviously the vampire twist has been done almost.
Are you talking about the virals?
Oh yes,
because let's be right, because the chat's probably blowing up right now. Like, they are not vampires.
The virals, who are eerily similar to vampires. Right. We've seen this kind of this dramatization played up so many different times. I think what makes this different for me though is it has such a human element to it, which some of them do, but this one it's almost like, okay, we don't know. It's not some deep, dark evil. We literally, we don't necessarily know what that was in that cave yet. So that's probably something we need to get back to. But this is literally people whose intentions started off somewhat pure, right? With the road to hell, though, right? Paved with good intentions. Right. But it started off somewhat pure. And then you have this little girl who is in this horrible situation her mom's, regardless of what would happen with the Dr. Sykes and everybody, her mama was going to die anyway at some point of an overdose. Right. So as bad as it is her situation right now, she's not in the foster care with that crazy lady. No. She's with Brad, who loves her immensely. She's got this weird kind of family thing going on. Is she better off? Is the question. Your face is like, I don't know about all that.
No, well, like you said, it's as you're bringing up all the, like you said, the stuff from the earlier episodes. It's that is the one thing with all the sci-fi and viral part about it. It's still the storyline. It's still like connection and relationships, because it
happens to real kids. Kids end up in the system, and so they get thrown away. That's one of the things that Dr. Sykes says: "Give me somebody no one's going to look for," kind of thing. And that unfortunately happens to a lot of kids. They're in the system and people just stop caring. Right. So I love how it has a lot of these humanistic, little dialogues in the whole thing, and it just is so endearing. It's easy to fall in love with the characters because, aside from going viral, this all could happen. And even the viral part, take out the slightly vampire aspect to it. You don't know what the government's up to.
No, you never do. You never do. And if our mics cut off, like during this podcast.
And if we ain't here next week,
you guys
come find us.
Right. Come look for us on 4B, and actually, that brings me to actually one last relationship that we kind of just didn't talk about. Clark and Babcock. It was kind of a short one. She was kind of in here today. She told him about, hey, Dr. Sykes, how she'd helped Amy and Walgas. And then anybody else pick up on this in the chat? Let me know. When Babcock first showed up and she was like, hey, I'm pregnant. And Clark had like a worried look on his face.
Yeah, like, is it mine? I was like, and I was like, wait. Nasty.
Wait a minute. Like, how? And then she's like, I'm kidding. And I was like, obviously, when why was he all worried looking? Like, you been messing with someone else? Like,
it was not, I'm kidding.
Clark was about to really, maybe she wanted to see that though. Like, ooh, look at you get all jealous or worried.
The chat wants to talk about Lyla. They say she better not die.
Oh, yeah, Lyla was up in there praying hard, along with Lacy.
Who grabbed her?
Ooh.
And why? Okay, so wait, let's go back, because we remember
it looked like some government type people.
Like the Men in Black kind of thing.
Always the government.
Because we remember last episode the reporter was killed. And that's why Lacy was like, it's time to go. So that's why they're on the run in the first place. So here's the real question of that, though, because Lacy is team protect Lyla right now.
Right.
And that's just because, earlier she did say that Amy was her calling. But so she's team protect Lyla because they're trying to get to Amy. There's no way she would just let somebody take Lyla. So what's going on with her right now?
That's a good question. Because Lacy wasn't in the church when she was.
I thought they were praying together.
You know what?
Let me know if I messed that up. I thought they were praying together because
Well, you know what? I do just remember seeing Lyla by herself in there. But so, like you said, it begs the question: where was Lacy? Was Lacy just back in the room hanging out or something? I mean, she had to have been because she couldn't have been there, and they just snatch her up like that because it would have been something.
Right.
Like, Lacy wouldn't have cared. In the church, she would have brought out that burner and smoked somebody. So. You don't want this smoke? Like, oh, she done shot up someone in the church.
Okay, no, they said that she was praying alone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh yeah, because Lacy doesn't.
Well, maybe that's now. Next episode is like, all right, Lacy on the hunt. I got to go get Lyla. Then we got to go get Amy. So, maybe she knows how the government operates and she's about to go on her own mission.
Maybe.
With her 50 guns and going in there. You do what you got to do, Lacy. You go, girl. Go get her.
Lacy, Ivan says Lacy was not there because she was cleaning her guns. That sounds right. Sounds right.
She's like, Lyla, what time you want to... Girl,
Lyla,
where you at? We're playing, coming with the guns in the church. Like, what is it? They were like, see, this is why we can't let you back,
this
Lacy.
my holy stick.
Lacy, you cannot be like, don't talk to me. I'm sorry, we go.
we get off on these tangents.
How come if we were in the writer's room, they'd be like, you know
this
what,
is not
you
a
two,
comedy.
yeah,
Stop
this is like, and then we could have Lacy do. No, but that's going to be interesting to see because, like you said, that's obviously a big plot point. Like, hey, what's going on with Lyla? What are they doing? I think they captured her. Then maybe they'll be like, I don't know if they'll use that against Brad. Be like, hey, we got your ex. Don't be acting up, or bring the girl to us type thing.
Isn't that from Taken?
Something
I have
like
a particular set of skills.
Yes.
I will find you and I will kill you.
And if I was Brad, I'd be like, I don't know if you want,
catch these
you
hands.
Want, right.
You don't want it.
Or, I don't know if you want this problem named Amy right here.
When she yelled, things happen.
Shoot. Go ahead, take her, see what happens. Man, she blow up this whole building. Well, like I said, this a lot of stuff going on in this episode.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we definitely appreciate your guys' participation in the chat there. And so, like I said, just going into next, episode 6 next week, it's just more, it's going to be more action, more drama, which we love. Keep it coming, people.
Yes.
Keep it coming.
Are we going to do our...
Yes, let's move. I was going to say, let's move into our special segment, our good bite, bad bite.
Yummy.
Okay, that's the good bite.
Wait, did we have the yummy? There we go.
Yes. Can I do 2?
You can do 2.
All right, so my good bite is going to be the moment that Tanir is talking about. And it was this moment where Anthony stood up and the sun just hit him just right. And the muscles, that is a good bite right there.
I think the whole episode just slowed down. I was like, why is it in slow motion? I'm trying to...
I was like, just wait a second. Just wait a second. It was my good bite. But can I tell you my bad bite? Or you want to tell me your bad?
She's like, when it left off of Anthony, the rest of the episode.
Yes. But my bad bite, and it has nothing to do with the character. Obviously, we love Lacy, but Lacy's cry scene is a bad bite. And the reason why is because the camera cuts to her, and she's got, she's got one of those cries that looks like she's like, like she got that many tears, but is completely... I just didn't, I mean...
Those were hard tears. Hard, like military tears, like, man, I'm like crying, but I'm still keeping the stiff upper lip. Like, what?
Yeah, like, what do you do?
That, right.
And then Lila's like, well, I do this. Well, let's do that.
Right.
And then
let's do that.
Oh. It would have been nice to see like just a smidge of real tears.
Right. I felt like it was kind of like she came up like, Lacy, you crying?
That's what I said. I was like, what's on the side of her face?
Right. I feel like something real bad's about to happen. But let's do that.
Tears?
Dang. Rough. So my good bite, actually I had a couple. I'm like you. I had 2. Mm-hmm. One was actually I'd already I already talked about it. I don't even know why I find this just so funny, just because it's just a real moment, So when Dr. Sykes, like I said, one was the look Sykes gave Dr. Pett, when they were talking to Gilder, and it was just that like Negro, if you don't stop, like
I will cut you.
right, like right now. I was just like, oh my God, it's about to go down right now in the first 5 minutes. You know, like show's gonna be over, whole detention center burnt up, blown up because Sykes is like, I have had enough of this nonsense. The second one, and we both kind of, I don't know how you guys acted towards this, when they had Winston in the chair and Dr. Pet straight up just drilling.
Oh, that was horrible.
That kind of, I was like, we gonna do it like that? Just like, just drill right in the side of the head. Like, oh man, like this, you guys keep it real on the passage. I don't know what the effects and all that. I mean, it was like, yeah, that was a real moment for me. It was just kind of like took me back. I don't know how you guys feel. You guys were probably like, yeah, in the chat. You seem like you like that kind of stuff.
The chat did say, Jackie, was that a good bite or a thirsty bite? Listen here, I am parched.
Shots fired.
If you feel like bringing me a glass of Anthony water, I will take it.
You heard it here first. Do not come for her when it comes to Carter. She's like, I'm not having it. Nothing.
I don't care what you say.
She's like, you can bring me a tall glass,
Tall
like, you know, a big
with
old.
muscles.
Man, Carter, if you listening Carter, if you listening out there, if you would just fire something in the chat to her, you know, that would just make her day. She might just melt and pass out right here. And
just
then
like Amy did when she screamed.
Right.
Like,
day has been made. All right. So that's, you know, we're getting towards the end here. So let me get your predictions for next week.
And
we got the full-on lights
your
today.
AfterBuzz TV.
We got the lights today.
I think that, you know, because we saw Amy, you know, pass out. So I think once she kind of comes to, I think there's moments, because we've seen the virals kind of go from 0 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is her 0 to 60 moment. I don't think she's going to be 60 and, you know, hey, Brad, I know you're hugging me close. Let me bite you on your neck. I think she is going to obviously be well in control of her powers, but we're going to see a different, because her eyes haven't changed like theirs yet.
Right.
So I think maybe next episode, that's when we see her eyes change. And then she just becomes a little bit more aware. Obviously, it's got to progress the whole season, but I think we're going to see a jump in her powers next week.
I agree with you as well on the powers. And I also think that for Elizabeth and Dr. Lear, I want to see how that relationship's going to progress, especially since she's been infected. So I wonder how that's going to go. I feel like there's going to be some drama
because
and
that's how
tears
this
with
all
that.
started.
Yes, indeed. So, well, you guys, that's going to do it for us today. We appreciate you guys stopping in. Always the comments. Thank you for joining in the chat. You guys are always the best, leaving comments. Real quick, let them know what's going on or where they can find you.
You can find me on all things social media at JRayTheFanatic or in the chat with you guys. Thank you guys so much for staying with us and getting him in here. You guys were in the chat before we got here. We appreciate you coming in and talking to us and being our 5th panelist every single week.
Oh, show. And I'm Tanir Williams. You can find me on IG and Twitter at TanirW. And actually tomorrow I'm going to be starting on the panel for Boomerang on BET.
Nice.
So you guys can come in, check us and check me out there. That should be another fun one. But we're going to see you guys next week. You guys have a great week. Thanks again for stopping by, and leave us some notes, all right? Take care.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.